super short and sweet. Um, the whole purpose of virtual coffees is mainly to just give people the opportunity to really just ask me kind of questions about different things that they can use in terms of improving their strategy with their small business. So if there's like any questions as we're talking about like what's going on with funnels, please feel free to put it in the chat and ask me anything. I would love to be able to help. I mean, where's my computer? 26%. I should probably charge it. Give me 1 second. I don't want it to die while I'm sitting here giving this presentation. So, if you've never seen my face before, hello, it's so nice to meet you. My name is Meilani. I am the CEO and founder here at the Wilder Shop. The Wilder Shop is a digital branding agency that aims to help businesses to establish or elevate themselves in the digital space. We help with providing tips, tricks, and services in web design, social media, digital branding, and a lot more. Today, we're going to be talking about funnels and how to convert your followers into actual sales. And so I'm going to start sharing my screen so that we can get started. Because, like I said, today is just going to be super short and sweet, not super long. Don't want to hold anybody up all day because it is the middle of the day. Normally, I would have my coffee, but today I don't seem to. I left it downstairs with my kids. So that was mistake number one. They're with their dad. So it made my life a lot easier, which is great because then I didn't have to worry about having kids screaming in the background because I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom and I run my business from home. So oftentimes when I'm doing different things in terms of like anything with the agency, a lot of the times my kids are kind of in the background on meetings and stuff, but I love being able to have that flexibility, especially because it's stuff like this, being able to actually put together like and help customers to be able to complete their sales goals has been absolutely amazing. So, one thing that I did want to point out, because this is right here on this first slide, and then I already see like this is how I love, AI. There's some good and there's some bad to it. Um, your son is trying to eat your earbud right now. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, how old is your son? I have a almost 3 year old. He'll be three actually on Friday. And I have a 6.5 year old girl. Like it's kind of they keep me busy, they keep me young. 9 months. Oh, that is such a precious age. I was just looking back at when mine were that little. And it was just like sometimes honestly I miss that age, especially when it comes to like being in this like robust agency, because a lot of the times when they're that age and you can still kind of put them in a playpen for a little bit or like put them in a bouncer or something, like something where they kind of stay a little bit more stationary, it makes things a whole lot easier. And trying to like get blocks of work done, like especially for me right now, trying to get blocks of work done and running around with the two of them when my eldest isn't at school because right now she's actually on break. So yeah, it's been fun. Hi, welcome to the webinar. I was just speaking with one of the other participants. We're about talking about kids and having to see no break. Bless your heart for running a business and having as many kids as you do doing it. Like this is honestly the type of stuff that I live for. Because this is the stuff like when we're running an agency or when you're having a small business and you're trying to figure out ways to actually convert and do what you need to do without a whole bunch of BS. That's the type of stuff that I live to show and to have people come in and do. So I just absolutely love having the ability to run my business from home. And the reason that I actually formed the Wilder Shop was to help, not only like small business owners, but really mompreneurs with thriving in the digital space. And I just created the Thrifty Shop, which I'll talk a little bit more about. But today let me go back on track. We're going to be talking about from followers to customers. And like I said, please ignore this typo that's right here. It's annoying me because AI does what AI wants to do. But this is a fun statistic. Most businesses only convert 1 to 2 of social media followers into customers. When I first started with my company, one thing that I noticed was that I had a whole bunch of followers. I had a whole bunch of what I thought was a ideal audience that I could start building upon. And quickly I realized that a lot of these followers that I had weren't actually converting into sales. And so took it upon myself to not only figure out why that was, but two, a way to be able to help not only myself and my business, but also other entrepreneurs to be able to convert and take those followers into making it into tangible money. Because it's great to have a wonderful following and to have a big old social media, but if it's not doing anything for your business, it's just kind of putting it, into the wind. So today we're going to be talking about some ways that we're actually going to convert these followers. So here is a few myths when it comes to making money. Instagram isn't making money because followers don't always equate into sales. So myth number one, more followers equals more sales. Needing 100 right followers is not the same as having 110 random ones. And what that means is what matters most when it comes to converting your sales for the sales funnel is having followers who are actually going to engage. And if this is the first time that you've seen my face, I've actually done a couple different webinars talking about different ways to butter up your audience, basically, because when it comes to trying to convert your Instagram following into sales, the thing that businesses kind of end up missing, especially when you're really busy trying to manage a business and doing, everything that's business. And then on top of that, trying to manage everything on social media, is you often forget to start engaging and actually getting to know and talk to those audience members about what their needs are and how your company can better scale them. So just because you see, especially a couple weeks ago, we had a webinar talking about influencers, like micro influencers, macro influencers, and how to expand and really convert that into a way to actually have sales for your company. And one thing that I really stressed was that don't take the number of followers that you see on a page to at face value, basically, because just because somebody has 100,000 followers doesn't mean that all of those 100,000 followers are actually engaging with their content. And that is what's most important. Because if you're not engaging with your content, if you're not engaging with your audience in that content and making sure that what you are doing is actually helping them, it's not going to convert to the sales that you absolutely wanted. So myth number two, especially when it comes to creating a funnel that actually works, is that you need fancy software. Now, strategy always trumps every single tool every single time, because tools are amazing, but if you don't know how to use said tools and implement the strategies that are needed for your specific company, all of it is just going to go out the window. I mean, I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars, not only myself, but other business owners have wasted trying to think, okay, let me just do this software, let me just put this, and putting a whole bunch of pieces together that honestly end up kind of contradicting each other in a way. And then the last myth that I want to talk about, because this kind of goes into a little bit with this software, is the funnels are manipulative. The best funnels serve at every single step, because when it comes to these big old fancy softwares and having the strategy in place, people always think of trying to walk through these funnels and trying to convert this sale as it being some like manipulative sales tactic. Because to be honest, when we're talking about funnels, we could just make it as simple as leading this person to the page, capturing their email so that they can learn more information about your business, and then you can slowly nurture them over time. Because a good funnel doesn't just immediately just throw something up there. Yes, there are funnels that have like upsales and different things like that, but there's a process to these things. And if you're not engaging with your audience on social media, if you're not actually getting down to the roots of what they actually want, all of this is going to go out the window anyway. So you want to make sure that you are indeed, talking to your audience, engaging with your audience, nurturing that audience so that the sales funnel is actually going to work. And the other thing is when it comes to when you're throwing in like paid advertisements as well, there's more ways to be able to like nurture them also in that way manner, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, this is the content framework that we love to follow when it comes to social media. Now, the reason that we put all of this together was because I actually took a couple different trainings when it came to social media. As personally, I have been a social media manager, let's see, close to, I think, about 11 years now. Because I have first started freelancing and doing social media when I was still an undergraduate at OU, which is Oakland University, is my alma mater. But that was before I actually put this whole company together, because I started as, social media as I was having my degree in web development. And then, it kind of all snowballed together into the digital media, me getting, certifications. However, there was a lot of different frameworks in this expansive time of me trying to build social medias for others, build social medias for myself. And one thing, and I didn't, I wish that I had this on a slide, but I do want to ask you guys, do you guys have a newsletter, or do you have a specific strategy that you stick with social media? If not, let me know in the chat. If you do, let me know that in the chat as well, because that will better help me to better help you to really help implement this into your business today. But this particular slide, we want to talk about the content frameworks that we use to help nurture our audience. Because like I said a couple slides ago, having a funnel is beautiful. Having a great funnel can really help with the conversions of your business. But if you are not nurturing your customers before you get to these points of just trying to throw them into a funnel that converts these sales for you and your company, it's not going to do well for your conversion rate. So we put together a specific content framework that we follow not only with our own social media, but all of our clients, to help them nurture their audience and to really help put them in the correct funnels to be able to correctly convert their followers into sales. Now, here is the content framework. Conversion, which is at the very top, because this is the thing that you want to do, honestly, the least amount of. I know that may sound crazy, but the least amount of content that you want to have is conversion, which is when you're trying to ask for the sale. Because, I'm doing it in reverse it for a reason, because when you're thinking about like creating your content, the main thing you want to make sure is that you're providing valuable information to your customer and you're getting to know who that customer is. So that is why when it comes to the sale portion of everything, you want this to be so effortless in your strategy that you don't even necessarily have to come out and say, buy this thing, or you have to say, like, this is on sale. You could just put up a picture in a way and that will just convert it. Because that's the way, when you're nurturing your audience in the correct manner, that sales should be so effortless. So the second thing down here is the conversation. Now, conversations can happen in multiple different ways on social media. And this is where the engagement is really the most, especially because this is where you really get to talk to your audience. This is where you're in the comment sections, responding to people, having a conversation with them, starting some type of conversation in your stories, engaging and really drawing in. And that ties into our attract, drawing in the right people, not just anyone. Because one thing that I heard as I've been not only, building my own agency, but helping other customers and, learning, because you're forever learning whenever you're an entrepreneur. Because that's one thing that I thought that would just stop after a while. But there's always new information. There's always things that are changing, especially with the algorithms of social media. And when you want to attract your customers, the thing that really stuck and resonated with me was, if you are speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. And that means so much. I mean, and it's kind of honestly self-explanatory, because if you don't know who you're talking to, your audience isn't going to resonate with that message, because they're not even going to know who you're talking to. You need to make sure that you are, whatever content you're creating, whether that is static images like carousels, or a static post, or you're just putting something in your stories, or you have a reel that you are engaged, you have, and you want to have some type of engagement, or a call to action for your audience. You want to draw in the right people, because this is crucial. Because again, when we said a couple slides ago, when you have 100,000 followers, that means nothing if those followers are not engaging with your content, if those followers don't even know what you're talking about or who your business is. So drawing in the right people is absolutely essential, because it's amazing how someone can have a band of 100 or 200 or 300 followers, and they could be doing millions of dollars in sales because they have such a loyal audience that they have cultivated and brought together that's actually engaging with their content. And the last thing, which is actually where a lot of your content kind of comes from, is the inform. So this is where you get to shine. You get to show everybody you know what you're talking about. Your business is reputable, and why people can trust you. Because if you look at it from going from the bottom of the pyramid going up, if you create this content framework with your social media, this gains a bit of not even a bit, but this gains the trust that you need with your audience. You're informing them by demonstrating and showing your expertise in your specific fields. You're attracting them with your colorful branding colors, things that resonate with them. Color psychology is a huge thing. If it's not something that you're very familiar with, let me know. I would be happy to help you and point you into some resources that will help. The Thrifty Shop, we actually are going to be having some more tools where that's going to be like branding is going to have its own little section in addition to everything else that we have. But if not that, look on Pinterest and figure out ways to better resonate with your audience, because you, like I said, draw in the right people and not just anybody. Next, having that conversation with them, further nurturing that conversation, further nurturing and establishing yourself as that credible source. Because when your audience thinks of certain things, they should be thinking of you, and be able to have that open door to have that conversation with you, especially if there's like, if you're like me and you're in the industry of tech, there's all different stuff that's changing, and you want to have that open conversation, have that open doorway to be able to talk and converse with your audience, so that they can see like where you stand on certain things. Having that opinion and establishing yourself as that business leader, especially through conversation, it's very pivotal, because again, that helps to further establish your credibility as a resource. And again, lastly, that conversion, because you should be effortlessly asking somebody for the sale. It shouldn't be begging, because when you have to beg, then you haven't done your job at converting your audience. So this is a very simple 3-step funnel framework that you can put in your business today. This is where you can capture the audience, figure out and get more data on who you're serving, how you can better serve them, and put them through a funnel that's going to convert into a sale, whether that's just them signing up for a newsletter or them actually converting into dollars. Because remember, there is a way you have to kind of butter people up. There are going to be some people that, as especially as like who your target audience is, you need to know where they are in their buyer stage. Because there are some people who are just at the beginning that are just browsing, they're just trying to figure out a little bit more information. So this is where the awareness part of our funnel pops in. You solve a small problem for free, or a specific problem plus a quick win equals some value. Because this is where, the beginning of our nurture of our funnel. This is their tester, this is their teaser to who you are as a business and how you can better serve them. This is the perfect way for you to just kind of capture them, have a simple little freebie. I love to give digital downloads away, or even a free call if you can afford something like that, or even some type of free resource, something that you can give away that isn't going to be detrimental to your business if you decide that that is going to be your lead magnet. You want to have a couple lead magnets, especially depending on the season or different things that are going on in your industry, because sometimes there are times when you are going to be not necessarily in the sales portion, and you're not going to be heavily trying to drive something like, for instance, in a couple of months, we're going to be having people that we're going to allow to sign up with us exclusively and have a boot camp, so that we're helping them build their digital presence. And we're also going to have the same one for social media. But that isn't something that immediately is something that someone's going to come into. That's something that we had to kind of lead and start testing the waters, see if that was even something that people, one, would want, and two, if they found the value in it. And being able to decipher those type of things is where this awareness starts, because you're gathering information about this. Because the bigger picture of all of this is you want to gather as much information about your audience as possible. Because the more information you have about your audience, The more information you know about how you can better serve them, the better you can convert your content and your message and the things that you offer to better serve them and better to help with those conversions. So the middle thing here in our funnel is the interest and the consideration. So the 5 email sequence that converts to 21% and building connections through stories. Now, a good way you can set up a 5 email sequence. And if you are trying to, like me, when you're beginning like your business, especially if you're a mompreneur and trying to, have only have so much that you can kind of allot to your business. A tool that I want to recommend is HubSpot, also Jotform. These two are very good with trying to keep all of your email sequences all in one place without having to break your bank. You can actually do these things for free and nurture your email audience. Excuse me. And in that 5 email sequence, you should be, because we've already, let's say we've started at the top of the funnel, we've gotten them, we've caught their attention with our small problem, we've helped them fix it. Great. Now they've enrolled into our email newsletter. Where do we do next? And this is where the interest and the consideration pops in. And in that email sequence, you're going to be nurturing them, giving them some more information, giving them some more information about you and your business, and giving them some more information of value. And then you're going to be getting more information about why they even came to you in the first place. So in that 5 email sequence, depending on your industry, you may want to include some type of quiz that maybe leads to a portion of them signing up with a discovery call for you, or providing some type of more information about the specific problem that they have. Because let's say, and then I'm going to take our business, for example. Let's say that somebody knows that they need a website audit. They know that they need a new website, but they're not quite sure where to start. So with us, they start with a small problem. Hey, let's even just get a quick diagnosis about whether or not you even need the website redesign for to say. We give them the quiz. That's their freebie. We've gotten their information. Now we're nurturing them. We're telling them a little bit more about web design, giving them some more free resources, because we have a plethora of different blog posts and free tools that we offer to our clients. And then now we're putting them in that email sequence. So we're further nurturing them. Then about 2 or 3 emails in, we're having a conversation with them and saying like, hey, how can we better service you? And you can obviously put that a whole lot sooner. But as you get more interaction with them, you build more of that credibility. Then you can start converting them, because it's like, now we know this is the track that you need. So how can we better get you to a place where you are thriving in your business? And this is what leads into our decision and action, which is a clear outcome, transparent pricing, and the honest urgency, the direct call. Now, all of this can also happen within a landing page itself, but sometimes having one big old landing page is not necessarily feasible to create if you are not a designer. And 2, just trying to kind of figure out how to make it so that it's not so salesy. But if we have done this outside of that landing page, and we have said, okay, we have nurtured them for a couple emails, we know a little bit more about their problem, now we can have them push them to the decision and have them take some action. So this is where, when we come to that sequence where we say, okay, now we know that this is the problem, this is how we're going to be able to solve it, let's take the action so that we can further grow in your business. So that's where the honest urgency and the direct call to action pops in, because this is where you actually convert the sale. This is where everything comes together. This is where the money is made, because at this point, they have nurtured and gone through the process of learning more about you and your business. They now trust you. They now see you as an industry leader, and now they feel more confident in making that sale. So here is a case study of a client that we ended up helping with converting and putting them through this exact funnel. Now, they started off with 15K followers, and we ended up having to convert them because, like I said, just because they had a whole bunch of followers, there was not a lot of people that were interacting with their content. They also had a newsletter that they had attached to it. But again, there wasn't a whole lot of conversion when it came to this, because it was just kind of sporadically all over the place. Now, by implementing and putting them into that simple 3-step funnel, when we use, because like I said, HubSpot is amazing, especially for business owners who are trying to really figure out their budget. and they're more conservative about what they can and can't put into their business. We use HubSpot to nurture their and to keep their CRM. And if you're not sure what a CRM is, that's your customer management tool to keep all of that information. And in HubSpot, they make it super easy to host all of the email templates that you're going to be using so that everything is automated and puts them through that sales funnel. So what we did was we took those different followers, we started nurturing them using our content framework and nurturing their audience, giving more information about who they were, informing them, establishing them as business leaders, attracting the right people and not just anybody, because with their 15K, while it was beautiful and a great number, a lot of those followers didn't know who they were, why they were even in business, and why they should even be bothered with doing anything for them. So we took that, nurtured that. They did lose some followers, but that was okay, because then that started weeding out who we didn't need and freed up space for who they actually needed in their business. And as we took them through that over a course of 3 months, we ended up getting their email rate shot it up, which was great, because and I honestly, in a bit, it felt a bit lucky, just because of the fact that we knew that it was going to work because it had worked for us. But we were so happy to see such a big number, because as you see, the industry standard is normally 15 to 25%. But we got lucky because we really honed in on who their target audience was, and they already had some bit of a stamping ground. Their conversion rate went up from 5% to 4.8 for their conversion. So that meant that more people were clicking on the links that were in the emails, more people were interacting, more people found value of what they were actually providing. And this, as you see, in just 3 months, we ended up getting their income to almost $1,300, $13,000 in monthly revenue, because of the fact that we took the time to nurture their audience and to weed out who wasn't necessary, and to get them to honestly clear the way so that they had a clear way to their actual target audience. So it was absolutely wonderful. So I would like for you guys to screenshot this, because these are some convert, and as you see next to it, these are some email. Why is the word escaping me right now? Some email subject lines that you can use that will help to increase your open rate. Because honestly, when in HubSpot, and this is why I'm actually an affiliate. I won't even lie. But I just absolutely love HubSpot, because even for the free tools, they give you all of this information in your analytics. Excuse me. But one thing that when we were looking at our customers' email list, we were trying to figure out how their open rates were, because we were like, why aren't people, you have all these followers, you have this extensive email list, but why is your conversion rate so low? Why is your open rate so low? So we had to do further investigating and auditing. And one thing that we found was that a lot of people did not want to click just simply off of the subject title alone. And this is where you want to get really strategic about how you are titling your subjects, because certain like Google, Gmail specifically, or Yahoo, they like to filter and say certain things are spam, or filter automatically where somebody is receiving their email. So sometimes when you're having certain email subjects and you're having certain words, especially in your industries that are specific buzzwords, or even like banned words. And these are things that, I say generalized because it's different from every single different industry. But sometimes those different things will get categorized because that's just what the AI bots do. But these are some really good subject titles that we have already I was wrong about, get my results instead of signing up, and placing testimonials and the status prices, because you want to talk about things that are going to capture the audience's idea, or capture the audience's eye. You want to make sure that what you are saying isn't fabricated. It doesn't, sometimes just the shock value alone is what's going to actually make them open up the email. So one, these are some common mistakes. Too many clicks. It loses 20 to 30%. Forgetting to nurture between offers. So just piling on a whole bunch of information, not having a way to kind of build up to it, and generic messaging that doesn't convert. So you want to make sure that, again, even after you've converted them in a way to get them to sign up to your newsletter, your job isn't done. You still need to make sure that you're talking to them. You still need to make sure that you're nurturing them. And if you need a better way to help keep track of all of this, HubSpot is amazing because they give you, once you have sent an email in your email newsletter, because you get 2,000, you can send 2,000 a month for the free. So if you are at a point where you're sending a lot more than that, then the HubSpot free version isn't necessarily for you. So maybe moving to like a MailChimp if you haven't already, or another platform that helps you nurture that, even like a Kartra, because with Kartra, though it's expensive, it also allows you to build funnels, and they will build funnels for AI. So what you want to do is, making sure that you are nurturing your customers even after you've converted them to for the newsletter. Because like I said, your work doesn't end there. You still want to establish yourself as the industry leader. You still want to make sure that you're providing value and that the person isn't unsubscribing. And when I was saying before with HubSpot, they give you all that information for free. They show you, this is the subject title of what you had. They give you a preview even of what it looks like when it arrived in somebody's inbox. And then also it shows you how many people opened it, and comparison to how many people it was sent to, and how the click-through rate was. So how many people actually clicked on what was in your email, how many people interacted with it. And these things are extremely vital when you're trying to audit and figure out where the breakdown in communication is from you to your audience, because this will better help you in building your strategy to best serve your audience and provide the value that they need to better, get them to convert to those sales. And like I said before, this was like a really super, very quick virtual coffee. You see, here we are. We're not even at 1 o'clock yet. But I did want to open up the chat now because, this is, I'm leaving this up for right now. I did not put my QR codes on here like I should have. But if you guys are interested, I can put the information in the chat. But these are a couple ways where the Wilder Shop can help. Because we, as I said before, we are a digital branding agency. So we help with web development, digital branding, graphic design, social media management, anywhere where a customer is in their stage of building their business online, we are there to help. So that is why we offer an array of services, because we want to best serve our customers, because a lot of our customers come to us in various spots. Some of them are absolutely beginners. They have absolutely nothing. And then there are customers and companies that come to us that have a whole lot of stuff and everything's just everywhere, and they need somebody to just kind of audit things and put them back on track. So these are a couple ways that you can get started with us today and actually help us help you with building your better strategy and better helping with your funnel. In addition, obviously, so the information here, because we will be uploading this webinar to our YouTube so that you can have a replay. But I did want to open up the floor to ask if there's any questions about anything when it comes to funnels. Again, I would love to know if you guys actually have any funnels that you actively are nurturing with your customers right now. Even just like if you guys have any questions on better content strategy, there is going to be, and let me put this next slide up actually. There is a couple different, there's a virtual coffee that's going to be May 22nd about SEO secrets. And we also have another webinar that's coming up not this upcoming Saturday, but the first Saturday of next month. And it's escaping me what the topic is. I want to say it's social media, but you can subscribe to us on Eventbrite, and that is where the updates are for everything. Let me look at the chat because I can. Is not see, and that's that was actually my problem too about not nurturing. And I honestly, to this day, I still have issues sometimes with nurturing because sometimes we just get super busy with life. And that's where having specific tools in place really help. I really love to utilize my project management tool. I'm not sure if you have a project management tool, but that might also help you with figuring out what your funnel is going to be for your specific business and then helping to make sure that you're nurturing. So And you know, and because I love to give out freebies. I love to give out tools that you can use for little to no money. Trello, Trello is a great project management tool. You could put it all together, like to say, okay, you know, here's a research with all of my research. Tailwind is cool too. I like Tailwind. That was actually because like I only had limited experience with it just because like budget wise, I was like, okay, what can I find that's kind of like a happy medium that I can kind of use until I get to a certain level. Because at one point I just had nothing really to spend, and I didn't like the limitations that I get with free versions with certain things. But yeah, like just, you know, like I said, you know, creating a whole board, putting it on Trello, like this is my research, this is the funnel that I want to put them through, and keeping track of your analytics, because that's the other thing, because you can throw out and put people in a funnel and have them and, you know, kind of nurture them, but if you're not tracking those analytics too and knowing how that stuff is also working for you, that's also going to be a whole nother, you know, disservice to you and your business, because you could be throwing out all this information but then you don't know necessarily how it's converting or how, you know, you're even reaching your audience, because there could be something very minor that you in those fine little details that you didn't necessarily know to look for, or you might have missed because you have all these other things that are going on. But really kind of, you know, and if I'm not sure if you use any AI tools, you know, I actually just did a webinar about different AI tools that you can use, but using an AI tool to help you put together this funnel is also like going to probably save you so much time and effort and energy. But if you do use an AI tool, use an AI tool that knows you and your brand and your business so that it can better service you. And I actually, you know, in our, if you missed the webinar, it's actually on our YouTube. I did a slight demonstration about using Claude and showing how you can put all of your information for your business in one project so that it can consistently have all of the information that you need and you can better build your business that way. ChatGPT also has that option as well too. But you want to make sure when you are building that funnel that not only are you building it for the right audience, because, you know, AI can also help with trying to figure out like who is your target audience, how you can better service them, how you can better talk to them, and making sure your brand voice fits that. But keeping all of that information so that it stays consistent. Because that's another thing, because like nurturing and staying consistent and, you know, making sure that you are tracking your analytics, it all plays into like this bigger game. And it can be a lot when you're doing it by yourself. And as I, you know, have found out, you need a big team behind you, not necessarily like a huge team, but you need at least, you know, one or two other people sometimes with certain tasks. Yeah, and it can be really overwhelming, which is why, you know, I started the agency that I have, and, you know, now um we have a team that we kind of, a couple external teams for the different services that we work for, because to me, I was just, my heart was in the right place of trying to help everything and everybody, but it's overwhelming, especially when you are a business owner trying to make sure that the business is actually staying afloat. And then you're like, you know what you know, and then you know what you don't know what you don't know. And there's a lot of stuff that you don't know, and you don't realize that until you're literally in the throes of it. And it can be overwhelming, but that is honestly where, you know, I created the Wilder Shop and then the Thrifty Shop. And I really wish that I had a my QR code for the Thrifty Shop. Because the Thrifty Shop is actually the community that I have started to build, where I can better service and help business owners to really have a one-on-one experience. Because a lot of the problems that I was running into with a lot of the companies who wanted our services, they couldn't necessarily afford it. And so that was where the Thrifty Shop really comes into play, because that is the key to be able to kind of really help us to better service our business owners at a more at a bigger volume. Because in this way, especially in the builder and the boss tiers, this is where you get more of a one-on-one access to me and my team. You get more access to us and our calendars, and be able to in the boss, I believe it's quarterly meetings one-on-one, and in the builder it's quarterly meetings with like a big with the group. But each of these tiers, you have the ability to be able to talk to me and my team one-on-one more, to bounce more ideas off of us so that you're not alone. Because the biggest thing that I wanted to create with the Thrifty Shop is the sense of community, because there's stuff that's going on social media. That's a lot of like gurus who are telling you this and all this stuff and trying to make you pay all this money. I don't want to do all that. I want to give business owners more tools that are going to help them feel more empowered and feel that they can tackle these different tasks on, at once. So, and I really wish that I had put the URL, the QR code, but let me just put the URL here in. Let me make sure, because I actually just redid all of my, here we go. To make sure I had it correct. I just recently migrated my website to WordPress because we had been doing Squarespace for a very long time. And I got to a point as me as a web designer, and I'm like, I need something that has a little bit more flexibility here. But there's the link in the chat right now to the Thrifty Shop if you would like to sign up. Like I said, the browser is 100% free. It's always going to be free. I wanted to create this platform specifically so that I could better service the business owners who did not have the means to be able to go and expand and like hire a big agency, but still want to have that sense of being able to talk to somebody. So you still have access to us in the browser as well, because like I said, we host all of this. We'll know what businesses we have and more information, so how we can best serve you. And I'm always sending out because the browser has the general Thrifty Shop newsletter, which provides just tips and tricks, general things. The builder and the boss have specific bi-weekly and monthly newsletters that are attached to them as well. And those are a little bit more specified to different industries, kind of depending on what's in our what's in the community currently, because we do have a array of different businesses that we service right now, because we've got some nonprofits, we've got for-profits, we've got personal brands. So it's just going to kind of be a mixture of things. And, if you go to that link, you'll see a little bit more about the information. And if there's any troubles that you have with accessing anything, I will put my email in the chat so that you can personally email me with any issues, anything that you see on there that you're like, hey, I would like to improve, I would love to see more resources about this, or I think maybe you guys should improve with that. I'm always open for more input, because if the best way I can better service the business owners that we help, the better, because that's the whole reason for me even creating the Thrifty Shop and, having the Wilder Shop. But if you are at a point where you're like, you know what, this is still a lot and I just want somebody to help, there is the web developments, and it's called the Growth Guild. And this is where, those who already have something established, they already have a website, they already have some social media, a bit of a digital presence. This is where that comes in. With the starter, it's just going to be a basic, like, we're going to be doing a full out audit of everything that's going on, a full comprehensive list of, okay, this is all of what you've got going on. Here's some improvements. We don't implement those improvements in the starter package. But in the professional, in the enterprise packages, those are where we have more details. We have a little bit more scheduled sessions with helping you with implementing those changes. And in the enterprise, we just implement them all together. With the professional, it's more of a hand, we're holding your hand as we're walking you through the process of getting through it. And then the enterprise is where we're actually integrating it all together. So if you are interested in those are also, like I said, that's called the Growth Guild. An online literary magazine. That is actually really awesome. I just finished doing a literary magazine for a science fiction and fantasy contest, and it that was a fun feat, to say the least. Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. That's actually a really great place to start. Are you on TikTok by any chance? Because I wonder if there are some ways that you can even integrate like some of the content that you have on Instagram and Pinterest and putting it on TikTok to get to a certain target audience. I'm really intrigued about this online literary magazine. I would love for us to chat further, because I would love to know if there's a way that we can better help with you, because with you, doing it by yourself and everything, I'd love to come in and be able to help us wherever we possibly can to help you better push that, because I would love to know more about your target audience, who you've already kind of serviced, where you're pulling things, because that's the again, if you actually look at our YouTube, and of course I can't, you know what, let me just pull it up, because you may actually really benefit from one of the YouTube that we just did. Which one was it? Yeah, the online strategy. Yeah. So higher sales volume, the website. Yeah, this one might actually be really beneficial for you. The website optimization, the secret to increasing your conversion rates. You may want to actually go to our YouTube page and watch that as well, because there's a lot of good information in there that might actually help with getting some more like conversion in terms of your website. Because I'm not sure which platform you're using, but there, I did talk a little bit about like WordPress and Squarespace and Wix, and ways that you can better put in. And also, yes, the social media strategy, that also may be very helpful to you as well, because again, I went through step by step on different ways to build a more comprehensive social media strategy, so you're best serving your audience, and it's not just like I said, a general message. So you're using WordPress. Oh, perfect. See, yeah. And like I said, I just migrated back to WordPress. WordPress was kind of something that I used years ago, because it's open source and I know how to code, but I kind of fell into this Squarespace Wix lull. Absolutely. Yes, I will put it right here so you can. Here is our YouTube. So that way you can, yes, please watch, because like even the influencer, because that also could be very helpful of pulling different influencers to help draw more traffic and having that user generated content. So yeah, these last 3 webinars that we've done would actually be extremely helpful. And if you have like any questions after watching any of those, again, like that CEO at the Wilder Shop, that goes directly to me. So I would love to be able to personally help. You could just say in the subject title that you attended this webinar, and I'll know exactly who you are. So then we can just start, get to talking, because I would love to be able to help and better help propel your website forward. Because this is I'm doing this twice a month, every Wednesday, or not every Wednesday, every fourth Wednesday, I'm doing these webinars, this virtual coffee. Like I said, it's a really short, quick, it's meant to be, this dialogue of being able to talk to one another, and to better help me to better service you with just a quick little, couple action steps that you can implement in today. And then the webinars that happen at the first Saturday of every month, those are a little bit more lengthy. That's where we actually get more extensive processes about different things. And here, like I said, at the Wilder Shop, we do what we can to be able to kind of fill in those pieces where business owners are like, I'm not even sure what that is, or I didn't even know I need to know, different things like that when it comes to your digital real estate. Because there's a lot, with social media by itself, it's a beast. Trying to master the different social media platforms and making sure you're staying on top of their algorithms specifically, and then on top of that, you're managing your website and making sure your website is actually converting and people are coming in with SEO. And we're going to be really SEO heavy in the next few months, because SEO is huge, because it not only plays a role in your social media, but it also plays an integral part in your website and, on page and off page. So, and by trade, I am a full stack developer. So websites and talking about SEO and talking about web development is really where I shine, because that's like my passion. I've been learning how to code since I was a kid. So that's I really love talking about that, and can honestly talk about that for days and hours. But I digress. So I won't even, because that's not the subject of today. Today was funnels. So was there any other questions, any comments, anything else that you guys would like to point out? Because I would love to, since it's already, it's almost 1 o'clock, getting done super early, so we could just kind of wrap things up, and, go about our Wednesday. But I am absolutely extremely thankful for those of you that have shown up. And if you are watching this as a replay, thank you so much for watching. I absolutely appreciate and blessed that we have aligned and we are here together. And then I hope that this information has been helpful, and you can better implement this into your business and to help you to thrive. You are absolutely so welcome. And I'm thankful for you for staying on and for coming back, because I know you had like stepped out for a second. Go be an awesome mom and go kick out a kick-ass day with your baby, because like we said earlier, it is not an easy feat running your business and, you know, being a mom. So kudos to you for doing the damn thing. We're amazing. So I am just going to, now we're going to wrap up. But again, if you guys have any questions, comments, CEO at the Wilder Shop goes directly to me. So please feel free to email me with any questions. Info at the Wilder Shop also is an email that I have access to. That's like our general hotline. But please feel free to inbox us with any questions that you have. Please follow us on social media. We're on any social media, even if I'm not always posting. We actually just got rid of our social media team. So now we're going to need to have another team. So again, you know, moving parts, but it's okay. You know, that's all part of business. So, but we're on, you know, mainly Facebook, Threads, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. That's where I've really heavily been trying to make sure that I'm doing the most in terms of, because that's where we're really resonating with our audience. So please make sure that you're following us on social media, and also, you know, subscribe to the Thrifty Shop newsletter and our general newsletters. You know, scanning this QR code over here will get you to our website, so then you can just kind of see everything that we have to offer. So now, you know, I'm going to end it there, but thank you all again for where's my voice? Thank you all again for staying on here. And yes, you have a nice day as well. I look forward to hearing from you soon. And I'll make sure that I follow up with you, because I would love to learn more about your online literary magazine. I'm a writer at heart. So I like that really stuck out to me. So yes, but everybody, please have a beautiful rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you guys soon.